We're learning Ulilevi Omer, BiShalach Tovshin Samach Daled. Rebbe says the portion of the notion of women, the Geula of Yisrael. Friday night he said, at the beginning of the Geula, we find already that the women had a great portion in it. Cheved and Miriam, that the whole beginning of how the Exodus came about is because of the women, the Mialdos, that they did not cooperate with the king, and the Bas Power even also was involved. So you see, even the women of the Goyim had, in a sense, a part in the Geula. Chazal tell us, in the merit of righteous women, we were redeemed, and therefore, everything that women did is to tell us that not only having the children, but they were the ones who caused Klal Yisrael to have the merit of being worthy of leaving Egypt. So we find from the Parsha, it says, "V'tikach Miriam hanavias hatoiv biyodo." The women were more comprehending of what was going to come about, because Miriam Hanaviyah, the prophetess, took the drum in her hand, and all the women went after her after Kriyas Yamsuf with their drums and their mecholos. The question is, they didn't have anything else to do but to take into the desert were these items. But when the men were busy gathering together from Egypt gold and silver, the spoils of Egypt, at that time the women wanted to find vessels of instruments of music to praise Hashem, because they believed it would happen. So it's because of the belief of women that we had our redemption. So may it be that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help us to have that redemption in the future. And we know how special was this Shir Hayam, the song that was sung after the crossing of the sea. Klal Yisrael sang, but we find a special place for the women here, that Miriam took her portion, her drum. They gave her a special place, even though it mentions Az Yoshim Moshe Bnei Yisrael. The women are given their place as well. Something very important to remember, how the importance of women is mentioned again and again throughout the Torah, all the generations. The success of Klal Yisrael comes through because of righteous women, that they have a basis in belief more so than men, that great things will occur, and this belief has never stopped throughout the generations. This belief and trust in Hashem. As Shalashuz, the Rebbe said, Rebbe Zt mentioned, after they sent them out, they changed their minds. And they said, what do we do? We sent Yisrael from working for us. We have to understand, what do you mean, what do we do? We know why they sent them out. And there were 10 makas. The Egyptian couldn't take it anymore. Therefore they sent them out. But we know that a person never sees his own faults. He'll never want to admit that he did something wrong. Therefore, after Yetzias Mitzrayim, even though they sent Bnei Yisrael, because out of fear and the plagues, but they didn't want to say that that's the reason. They said, we did something wrong. And they don't want to say we were forced to do it and we did the right thing ultimately. That's what you find in the previous Parsha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu, B'chatzos halaylo, at midnight exactly, I will strike all the firstborns. Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid to tell Paro exactly. Why? So Chazal tell us. Why did he say kachatzos, approximately midnight? Because the astrologers will say time was off. So Moshe Rabbeinu, they'll say Moshe doesn't know what he's doing, because he said 12 and it was 12:01, or he said 12 and it was 11:59. But wait a minute, everybody heard the people dying. What's the problem? Why should they say he is a liar? He wasn't correct in the time. As soon as they'll hear everybody dying, they'll know that the plague took place. And in that time, they're going to go ahead and say, well, it wasn't exactly at that right time. There's so many dead people. So we have to say that the reckoning is as follows: that even when a person sees the Malach HaMovis in front of him, he won't want to say that he's at fault. I'll say, Moshe Badoi, I'm not at fault. That even that we had time that the whole reckoning is according to the Seichel, to think if it's exact or not. They had to think on the people that died. Then the Iker is to make sure that they're okay. And Moshe Badoi, this is what we find in Chazal. Ein Oda Meisa Matzmei Rosha. Since it's against the teva of a person, so you should say he's a Rosha. And therefore, even when a person says witness, you don't accept it from him. If he says I did something wrong, and a person cannot incriminate himself according to the Torah, because it's against the nature. There's something wrong here. He's not acting normal, and that's why the Chazal tell us, if the Bezdin, the Sanhedrin, said everyone all say he's liable, he's meritus, because if they have no one finds something good about someone, that a Bezdin of 23 people have to judge a person for death, they should all say chayiv. That can't be. Sof called sof. At one point, there's somebody who must have a different thought. They'll find a way to say this person did it because out of a mistaken thought, not because he really meant to do so. If they all say chayiv, no one can find anything for him, then that's not normal. And therefore, according to halacha, you have to have everyone. The main idea here is a person has to remember that we always justify ourselves, and we justify ourselves many times we're wrong, but that's what we do. So the Eibishter help, we should be able to see the truth, the light, and have the emunah b'tochen, which will bring us the Gula Shleima B'mheira V'yameinu. Amen.